Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Ryan Harper Podcast. Today we got Katie Wallace in the studio, who is the sustainable queen of LinkedIn. I don't know. I think I'm just going to...
Sustainable queen of LinkedIn.
I don't know.
Amazing intro.
I'm just going to call every female in here, I'm just going to call them the queen of whatever they do.
Yeah, that would probably be a good thing.
Yeah. Earn some brownie points.
We like that, yeah.
So
I can't speak for the whole female species, but me as a female, I like to be called the queen of something.
What is that drop? Yes, queen.
Goddess. Goddess is another
The
good
goddess of sustainability.
There we go. Thank you.
What does that mean? Because you could take that any direction.
Goddess of what does sustainability mean, or the goddess of sustainability?
Both.
I just noticed that you have ET over here. In
Yeah,
your
ET
corner.
is amazing.
Yeah, yes, one of the greatest movies, I think, for sure.
Yeah. I usually have them right here, but back there in the corner is fine too.
Yeah, you should bring them over here. What does sustainability mean, or being the goddess of sustainability?
Both.
I think just being a goddess, like I feel like people like that, god/goddesses, right? Because it has this connotation that you are mightier than thou, or that you have some sort of like light that is radiating from you. You know what I mean?
I would say that I think people would agree that know you, that you would have a light that radiates.
That is really sweet, actually.
I mean, do you not feel that? Do you not see that? Have you not heard that before?
I mean, I have, but I'm not just gonna run around telling people. Oh, everyone thinks I am.
We need to get you a shirt.
Magnificent being of light.
I am the light.
I am the way. Start a cult.
I am the light. Yeah.
No.
You heard it here first. Katie Wallace's cult. What would the cult be called?
What? If I had a cult, what would my cult be? Ooh, I don't know. I have no idea. What would your cult be?
Honestly, is one of those questions you ask and you don't really think of an answer.
Yeah.
But I
think it's going to have to come to you, like, as you're forming it and like coming up with all the weird laws and shit for your little culty cult.
I think my cult would be like, you actually have to have free thought and not take anybody else's word just because you actually have to do the research on it. So it's like the opposite.
Okay,
of cult.
You know what's crazy is that I was thinking about cults the other day because I was thinking about how I was like, man, it'd be so cool just to have this really intentional community, and like you start to like kind of go down this rabbit hole, and I was like, oh fuck, I think that's a cult. Like like weird shit starts to happen.
Have you ever studied like religions and such, like academically?
I mean, not
Well, the reason
I've looked into them.
Well, because like.
And cults too.
I think all like outside of academia, you hear cults, you think Jonestown, you think don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
You know all that, right?
But there's also a conspiracy to that one too.
What is that?
So I actually did a report on this one back in high school. But I didn't do the conspiracy side.
That they didn't drink the Kool-Aid?
No, that they were actually the reason why it was a setup. There was something that they needed.
Did Trump do it?
Shut up. They needed some sort of scandal in this area so that they could actually invade. It was like some big deal. Where did it happen?
It was South America.
Yeah.
It wasn't Nicaragua, but I think it was like Brazil, maybe.
Well, there's some conspiracy that they were actually murdered by the government versus.
But it's on camera.
Was it?
Yeah, there's film.
Oh, okay. Well, there's still a conspiracy about it, and that some of the people were plants also.
I don't know.
It's interesting.
I just think that people are easily manipulated, and they're also easily programmable.
No, totally.
And it's just like if you can control a few, you can control a lot. And that's what's sad about the cults. But what I learned in academia, well, it's not like it was just like a college course. I know. As I said that, I'm like, hello, my
this is Dr. Ryan Harper.
This is Ryan Harper. I went to University of not Harvard. But they throw cult around like, oh, it's just a word, and then it has a definition. I don't know what the definition is off the top of my head.
It's like religion is a cult.
Yeah,
is that where
basically
you're going with
it's like every religion is a cult,
right?
But because of
how dare you?
Sorry, everyone.
There you go.
Who is religious?
Yeah, no, but it's like, but if you think about it, I forgot where I was going before the how dare you, but yeah, everything is a cult. But like with Jonestown and Koresh and all that, cult is a bad word now.
Yeah.
There's a negative connotation there.
Right. Yeah. I get that. But also I feel like, if your cult makes you be a better person, then, well, religion, whatever, then like, sure, do it.
Are you religious at all or spiritual?
I would say I'm more spiritual than anything, but it's like, I don't know. People kind of take that to be you're a matcha drinking, yoga doing, Lululemon wearing, pants wearing, whatever. I think that's what spirituality has become. Maybe, but also
what you got against matcha?
But I don't like. I mean, matcha's fine. I just don't like saying like, "Oh, I'm spiritual."
I think
because it kind of is. It's that. It's where it's starting to have a connotation that comes along with it.
We could have a 3-hour conversation about Lululemon because I think Lululemon is God's gift to men.
It's God's gift to women. Let me just tell you. If I could be wearing them now and it was acceptable, not just, I mean, I have meetings afterwards, but like, I mean, if I was just coming here, I probably would have just worn.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like rep for them because I don't think they really do anything great sustainably or anything. Right. But I buy them secondhand off Poshmark, so it makes it a little bit more acceptable. And they just make everything look great.
Yes. Like if you've got like abnormalities or imperfections, or not that anything on a woman's body is ever imperfect, but I'm just saying, it's like if you got a saggy ass, all of a sudden it's like
it's transformed. It's like, so crazy, and it's wild because it doesn't, like, the ones that I have don't even offer that much like support or anything, but it just somehow
it's magic. It's that silver lining.
I swear. Anyway,
wouldn't it be funny if later we learned that at the Lululemon manufacturing plant that's probably in China or something, like they have like Wiccan witches that are like
just casting spells.
Yeah, spells over the. It's like, hey,
cauldron, like cooking the Lulus.
Yeah, we need to make magic butts.
Yeah, and they're tricky, right? Because like, then maybe they come off at some point, and that's not how their ass looks.
So. And that's why they should never come off.
Just keep the Lulus on.
It's like, if the Lulus come off, the lights go out.
Oh my God.
But you brought up
We're like shaming people right now. I'm not even trying to like shame people.
No,
that's not what I mean.
There's zero shame.
Yeah, but like filters and things, they try to make everyone look perfect, and like we should really be cool with.
I brought this up yesterday. Is in who's the comedian, Tommy, that I was talking about yesterday? Eliza
Schlesinger.
So like her latest, she's a comedian, but one of her specials.
Oh, on Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh, she's hilarious with the long blonde ponytail.
I think so. But one of her things is like she kept on going on and on about how with women, stop shaming each other, stop shaming your men. If your man's with you, it's because he thinks you're the most beautiful woman ever. Like men are very just easy. Like if they're with you, they think you're attractive, period. So, but they always think that men are like not thinking you're attractive or whatever. Does it make sense?
Yeah. No, it does. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't think I feel like that, but
yeah. Well.
Yeah. I think I'm fine as hell all the time.
There you go.
No, I'm just kidding.
You're the one. Because you're a goddess.
Yes, queen. I'm a goddess.
Yes, queen.
Yes, queen.
Thank you.
I hate that with all passion, and that's why he's doing it. But so sustainability, like,
yeah, sustainability. What is that?
Because I know it is. So, are you working with like leads companies at all, or is it completely separate?
To me, sustainability is just the ability for us to continue to operate the way that we're operating indefinitely. Mm-hmm. That's what sustainability is. I've kind of like switched over more to talking about resiliency because sustainability is this far off thing that we'll never get to. It's perfection. And so really what we're aiming for is that when we get off course, that we can come back to this. Basically, it's like riding the waves, but always like coming back to center. You know what I mean? You might veer off this way, but then you course correct. Veer off this way, course correct. And that's in your personal life, and as far as the environment, socially, how we're taking care of people, just life in general.
So sustainability would be the ultimate goal, but resiliency is kind of like you just try.
Resiliency, I think that's, yeah, you can't aim for, I mean, you could aim for perfection, but it's just a very lofty goal. Mm-hmm. And I would say I like resiliency better, especially from a personal growth standpoint and becoming more resilient. You're not trying to be sustainable.
So what are those things that, like, what are things that people do in their everyday life that make you cringe?
as far as
The
which
sustainability,
avenue?
resilient. Well, yeah, that's
Like
open. That's very
personal or
open-ended.
environmental
Well,
or like health?
and because you've kind of taken this. Well, I'm assuming you've taken this path because pretty much all your posts, all your interviews, except for this one so far, but your life, your goal, your money making, how you do business is through environmental sustainability, resiliency, and just environmentalism, right? Mm-hmm. So what are things that people do, either companies and people just in general, that you're like, fuck, why'd you do that?
I think the biggest thing is just the short-sightedness of a lot of our decisions as far as personally and for companies, and not thinking about the impact that we're having on people, on the planet, I can't like really point to any one thing, but I think here's what I'll say. The thing that's annoying me right now is that people, I feel like, are always looking to something outside of themselves to change the way that things are. So we need technology to save us from this environmental crisis, or we need this to happen, but we never look at ourselves and say, oh shit, we are consumers. We're the one people who are causing this incessant need to consume, and for companies to continue to produce all the shit that we feel like we need. Mm-hmm. But really, if we just stop for a second and we're like, wait, why do we feel like we need to consume? What is it within us? What is this trying to fill?
So like what I'm hearing is like a simple thing as if you have a backyard, get a compost, like start a compost or something. Because if you're throwing away a bunch of food, well, you're filling up landfills. But if you can compost, like, because I know composting, I know that's kind of random, but
yeah,
it's just something.
Now I'm down for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. To that point, another thing that people annoy, like especially right now, the way things are, people are like, you got to start recycling, and it's like, no, we missed that boat like 15, 20 years ago. It's not about recycling anymore. It's about moving closer to zero waste. But I still am just like, yeah, great job. Yeah, that's good. It'll help.
The thing that annoys me the most when it talk about environmentalism or climate change or any of that stuff is, why is it a political conversation at all?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, well, scientists, it's like, are you a scientist? Am I a scientist? No. Well, let's just look at logic. You can't tell me polluting into the oceans is okay.
Right.
You can't tell me that doing like just craziness is good for the environment. Let's just leave the whole climate change, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. Let's just leave that off the table. The only thing we're talking about is this pen right here. Mm-hmm. Does it need to go into the environment, or does it need to go in a warehouse somewhere, or that kind of thing?
Yeah. Have you been watching my stuff? Because this is exactly the message that I'm talking about. It always goes there.
It's the light. It's the light.
Whatever. But so it always goes there. It doesn't matter if you're talking about the environment. It immediately goes to climate change isn't real. This, and I'm like, whoever said anything about? Who cares? I'm just trying to clean shit up, and we're just trying to make it to where we can continue this little life we have going on.
I think, and again, I'm not a scientist, and I haven't done the research, so fact check yourself. But I think there's research out there saying we're already fucked. We've already passed the point of no return.
Yeah.
So just try to have a better lifestyle, and maybe save a little bit here and there is the way to go.
Well, I think that it's all up for debate, right? I think that's why we can't even focus on that. I think the biggest thing that we need to focus on, to your point, is let's look at the actions that we can all agree on. And this is something that Lila talked about very eloquently, is stop talking about carbon and climate and, like just this crisis, but really let's talk about the things that we can agree on. Can we agree that we don't want trash everywhere polluting our oceans, our rivers, our lands? Like, can we agree on that? And can we not bring climate into this narrative? Can we agree that we need, diverse animal and plant species? I think we can agree that we need diverse animal and plant species to continue for nature to run its natural cycles. Like, these are things that we can agree on without ever even having to bring up climate or carbon or anything.
Right.
It's going to greatly benefit those things too, but we just don't have to talk about it because it's just not pertinent, I feel.
But I think that's the problem, is in 2020, the ability to agree on what is fact and what is not fact has been lost.
Yeah. Yeah. And that makes sense. I mean, there's so much information out there and everybody's an expert.
Let me back that up. Not not in everyday conversation.
Yeah.
But like in the media and the political landscape, because you could probably almost argue that, that's not really
probably almost.
Yeah, well, there we go. Hashtag probably almost is what is being conveyed, and I'm not like, oh, I made America or America great or fake news. It's not. I'm not going there, but with the landscape that's projected. Is completely different than what's every day. Because if you turn on news, and it doesn't matter which station, CNN, Fox, CNBC, MSNBC.
They're all biased as hell in one way or the other.
But not only that, they're all projecting this sense of us versus them versus us. And the reality is it's never us versus them unless you make it that way.
But that's a narrative that's been perpetuated since... how long, right? So what is it? But what does that mean? What's behind that? Well, that means that there's a narrative that's being pushed and there's an agenda that's being pushed.
Deep state.
Seriously, it really. I mean, honestly, and it just comes back to money, right?
Yeah.
It comes back to you're not going to benefit from having everyone in the world connected and happy with themselves, right? But there's different industries that benefit off people being sick, off disputes, off being at war with people, off every single problem that you see. Somebody's benefiting off of that, right?
Well, it's a capitalistic society. That's what happens. And I'm pro capitalism, but at the same time, I think, I don't know if this is the right thing to say, but there does need to be some limits, Yeah. But like at the same time, like that dude that got vilified for buying the AIDS medication for like $1 and selling it for $700, like that's pretty fucked up. But
also who bred that guy, right? Our fucking system bred that guy.
But the thing is though, like if he bought it for $1 and he's able to sell it for $700, I'm not saying he should, but I mean, he should be able to at least sell it for $50, or $100.
But why?
Because he's making money. It's
I was going to say, I'm saying, but like, why would he when he could sell it for more when that's the whole point of our system.
Right. And that's what I'm getting at is totally. Like, in some ways it's like, yeah, that's pretty messed up. People are dying. But at the same time, it's like, and that's where I think there needs to be some, and I'm not a big government regulation type person. I think that has their place and you have your place, live your life, but I'm more libertarian in the middle. But a situation like that is interesting because on one hand you have human life,
right,
that you want to protect and you want to help, but other end you have the capitalism. Yeah. And I know that guy is Tommy's hero, but still. But again, I don't know the real numbers, but I know it was like astronomical. Like it was like at least 100x on the.
It was insane.
It was bad enough that people felt so bad after the fact that they arrested him.
Well, I mean,
which I think is absurd.
Okay, but like if we dive deeper into that, right? I feel like this is what happens when you start to treat everything and everyone around you as a commodity. Right. You're not. He had no connection to these people. He didn't care. Like all he cared about was himself.
Right.
And that's kind of how our society is set up right now.
Yeah.
It's like this cycle that we're just kind of stuck in, and everybody's just like, this is fine. This is how we've always done things. Like, let's keep doing it. But the world that we're living in has changed. And where that used to work to survive, that doesn't work anymore. Like we have all these freedoms and we should stop being so like confined to that me mentality. And
we talked about this yesterday about, for me, I think a big problem is the last 40 years, everybody's being told they're special. Mm-hmm. And I think the pendulum is shifting back to where it's going to shift back hard, that because the last 10 years, there's this canceled culture. There's this, you do something I don't like, therefore we're vilifying you, and it's going to swing back hard. I think there's got to be a happy medium where it's like, okay, I like the color purple. You don't like the color purple, and that's okay. Versus, I like color purple, you don't like the color purple, therefore I need to lose my job, I need to be arrested, I need to be vilified on Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
But and I wish we can get back to a place of, you know what, I like this, I like what is that, whatever water, and you don't. Totally
Definitely
cool.
Not in a plastic bottle.
There you go. You don't like a plastic bottle, whatever, I prefer to only drink half because I think the bottom half of the water is not that good. So I'll just get another piece of other plastic.
Yeah.
bottle.
Do you trap the water in there too? Do you make sure to seal it, like put the cap on and just trash it so that way the water gets trapped in there too?
Is there another way?
And this is where I kill you now. No, but I think you're right. I think so. This is something that I talk about a lot, and I will never shut the fuck up about it. But I think all the changes that we need to see in the world it's always going to start with us, and that's what every great spiritual teacher has ever said. Not even just spiritual teacher, but anyone who has ever fucking mattered. I feel like, and that we remember and we quote them to this day. They were just, if you want to do good in the world, you're gonna have to start with yourself.
Yeah. So for me, I don't really talk about religion that much, but like I do, but I don't. Like me, my standpoint is whatever gets you through the day and that doesn't kill me, I'm all for it.
Okay.
Whatever belief structure you want to go for.
It doesn't kill you specifically or kill other people or...
Specifically me.
Just specifically
because I'm selfish.
Yeah, totally. You know? We all are.
You know?
It's kind of like that's how we make it through this life.
I think as Americans, though, we're limited in the scope of how we see things because most Americans... Don't quote me. I haven't checked the stat in a long time, but the last time I checked, which was probably 10, 15 years ago, only about 25% of Americans even have passports. And out of that, maybe only 10% of those people actually use their passports.
Yeah.
So
I don't think you have to go anywhere necessarily but it's like an amazing like way to shift your mindset immediately. Yeah. It's almost, like equivalent to a psychedelic experience. Yeah.
I didn't have a passport till 2018.
Really?
Yeah, that was the first time I went out of the country.
Where'd you go?
Japan.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you could just drive to another state. Like the U.S. is so big. Like there's so much beauty here, and you not even just that, but just different people.
And there's different cultures within the United States, but at the same time,
yeah,
it's still kind of.
It's more jarring and jolting when you get on the plane and take a journey somewhere.
I used to use this analogy a lot. Like I used to live in the Middle East, and not in a military capacity, but just in a professional capacity.
Yeah.
And I would tell people this, especially living in Texas, like, there's no way that's true. And what I would say is, the Islamic Muslim culture, religion, is actually way more friendly to strangers than Christians.
Yeah.
And they're like,
1,000,000,000%.
No. I'm like, listen.
And less judgy.
If a homeless guy shows up on an Islamic guy's doorstep, he's going to let him in. He's going to let him bathe. He's going to give him water. He's going to give him food. And then maybe later he kills him, but he's not going to kill him on his front doorstep. Because that's part of their culture. Like, if somebody comes in, you help them out.
Yeah.
I'm being jokey about the other side. But
did you see my face? I'm like,
I know you're like, I'm not laughing.
Yeah.
But like, but Christians, you're probably not going to. I don't say that. But in America, you're not even going to answer the door. You're probably going to call the police.
Yeah.
Like, there's a vagrant on my doorstep.
Yeah.
Another aspect of that culture is like, hey, I like your watch. Oh, you like my watch? Here you go. Mm-hmm. They give, so it's much more giving. That being said, they do also. I think their branding is off because they do get branded as terrorists a lot.
Well, yeah, like look at like the freaking all the shit that's happened with. Yeah. No, I mean I'm saying that. I feel like there was some.
Well, like there's like 2 billion of. Here's the thing is, I think when
I did not mean it like that. I meant like it was a beautiful.
You hate Islamic people.
No, I'm saying like
Katie
the Middle
Wallace.
East was beautiful before certain countries came in and fuck shit up, and then it made sense that there's like some sort of like low to high level of resentment and resistance there.
Well, the thing is, even on that, there's different mindsets because because we don't have all the information. Like we don't. There's factual information.
I mean, we can look at some situations and be like, oh yeah, America's a bully. We've kind of always been a bully.
Well, actually, I was on a kick of this past month. Do you know how World War I started?
I feel like I should, but no, not
okay,
necessarily.
So World War I basically started. Well, the reason it came up is because when we killed that guy from Iran, did you see that a month ago?
Oh yeah.
And everybody's like, and then somebody tweeted like, death of one man won't start a war, and it was tweeted by Fran Ferdinand, who Archbishop what's his name?
Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
Thank you. So anyway, he was assassinated way in the early 1900s, and his death led to World War I. And so everybody started allying up.
Well,
what people don't realize or don't think about is it's not funny.
It's not funny.
Like, yeah, it's
ironic.
It's been 100 years. We can joke.
Yeah, too soon?
No, yeah, too soon. No, but like it's that death of that guy led to the Allies over here, the Americans, Germans, whatever. But what people fail to like backdate or backtrack is America actually was on the side of the guy that assassinated, so America was on the side that killed the guy. Anyway, I just thought that was random and interesting.
Yeah.
You're like, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
No. I'm sure it does in some way.
Because you were talking about America being a bully.
Yeah.
I don't think we're a bully. I think we have our interests in it. And that's why I think traveling to other countries.
I'm sorry, we're not a bully, but we have financial interest, and we do whatever the fuck we need to do to make sure that.
But here's where I have issue with peace, love, and hug.
Yeah.
That because there is that mentality. Let's just love each other. It's like, okay, I understand that, and I don't want people to have a shitty life. I want people, and if we can have peace on earth, great. The reality is, there's shitty people out there. And yes, we're probably sometimes shitty as well.
Yeah,
you're looking at me like give me the fuck.
No, I'm trying to understand. Like I'm trying to figure out where you're going with this.
Where I'm going is like when you live in the United States, you have the ability to have that peace, love, and hug one another and love each other, and it's all for it. But in other countries, you do have bullies, and you do have situations where they are killing people and they are doing things, and you do have to have protection. Is there a shadow government? Is there a deep state? Does the Americans do fucked up shit? Yeah. Read a fucking book. Mm-hmm. We do some crazy shit, and we've been doing it for a long time. Mm-hmm. Like the stuff that I don't know if you've ever studied Vietnam, like the black ops stuff is insane. But at the same time, you have people that do that so you can have this cookie cover flower lifestyle. And I don't mean that. And I don't mean that disparaging.
No. And like, to be very clear, I'm not after like peace, love, and like harmony life. I mean, sure, it sounds amazing. It's very
But you have
ideal.
tattoos.
What the fuck? Another stereotype? Amazing.
I'm just kidding.
Amazing.
Where's your dream catcher?
It's on my back.
Oh, is it really?
Oh, it's on my lower back, actually.
There you go. I just play.
What was I saying? Shit, you threw me off.
You were saying you don't.
I'm not for
feel,
that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like no growth happens there, and I feel like there's a level of adversity that we always need to be going up against, but it should always push us to be a better version of ourselves.
Yes.
And I'm super grateful to have been born in America. Let me just be very clear. I do love this country. I'm not, totally against it. I'm against fucked up shit that happens, and I feel like that's just a human in me that's like, hey, I don't think that's cool. I don't want them to do it, but it doesn't mean I don't like all aspects of said country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that because we have been born in the United States, and we didn't pick it, right? We just dropped into a body, and here we are, and it happened to be in the U.S., but I also think with great privilege comes great responsibility.
Have you ever seen that show, Newsroom?
No.
The first 5-10 minutes of that show was brilliant, and it's been clipped out on YouTube a lot, but it's basically the character goes on about how
I
America's
know.
not the greatest country.
The speech, it used to be, and he's like, yes,
I love
right.
that.
Yeah,
I love
really
that.
Good.
So I think it's true. I think it was I think Alan Sorkin wrote that, and it's great. And what's that?
Aaron Sorkin.
What did I say?
Alan.
Same thing.
Yeah, you definitely said Alan.
Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But anyway, but I totally agree with that speech. I think it's great. And the problem is, I don't know what the fuck the problem is. But Eisenhower, on his way out from being president, he basically says, "Hey, beware of the militaristic state." He didn't say that.
I think he did.
Military-industrial complex.
There it is. Yeah. And that's what we have right now.
Yeah.
And it is fucked up. But the overall arching point I was trying to get to is, outside of this giant wall of being in America, is in other countries it's not like that. You don't have yes, there's freedoms other places. Other places have freedom, but they're like in the Middle East, there's institutional racism. Do we have fucked up shit here? Absolutely. We have some really messed up stuff. But over there, it's like, even though it's liberal for the Middle East and it's nice and you got all this stuff, there's some messed up stuff. You have modern day slavery over there.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Not just there, many other places.
But I haven't been to the other places.
Right.
I'm just speaking from what I saw.
Yeah. I think from my perspective, I don't know what the fuck my purpose here is, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the only thing that I can do is just try to make my little corner of the world like kind of okay, right? Just a little bit better, and then just become the best version of myself.
So what is success for you? Like how big of what kind of corner are we talking? A square mile? Are we
Oh,
talking
what
a
is success
state?
to me?
Yeah.
I don't even look at that. What I look at, I feel really fucking successful like right now. Like I have enough money to where I never have to worry about food. I have enough money that I can travel, enough money that my kid never has to want for anything, enough money. Like I have enough basically. And then am I doing work that is fulfilling to me? Is it work that helps and serves others? Am I becoming the best version of myself? Do I have integrity? Am I acting in ways that I can be proud of? Do I have a lot of fucking fun doing all of these things? Like that's it. That's it. I don't look to numbers as far as, I want to impact this many people or I want to make this much money. I think it's great for people who want to do that and it's really helpful. But that's just not what I'm here for.
Right. But like if say the next time you saw me and I had a water bottle versus a plastic bottle, would you be like, I had an impact? Or would you
No,
even
I would
notice
just be
that?
like, hey, that's really fucking cool that you did that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't think anything about me.
Right. But I was just thinking in terms of like, because, everybody has a barometer of, a notch here, $1 here, a brick there.
Yeah.
So you don't look at it like that. You're just like, okay, my shit's taken care of. I'm successful. So it's not a pass fail. It's just today I was happy. Today, that's all it is.
Yeah, honestly. And this is very recent, I'm going to say, probably within the past year or so that I've made this shift because I did want all of those things. I needed to have like my outside look a certain way for me to say, okay, I'm successful. But I mean, I had some, some plant medicine experiences, had my
Ayahuasca.
ego, shattered multiple times. So I feel like that really showed me that it was just all fucking, it's all fake and it's all an illusion. And it's like the only real thing that I can do now with my time is connect with people in the best way that I know how, try to enjoy this life and try to become a better version of me.
That's
Rebuttal?
I know there was like no rebuttal. No, it was just like mic drop. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. There was no response to that. I was like, well, fuck, man, that's deep. I don't know. I'm waiting for Tommy to save me. I just want to be like, what's a real meeting? No, I think that's brilliant. I think if more people were like that, and had that ability to like, I think happiness would be a much more attainable resource. I think, the whole Gary V thing, he's like, just be grateful and be happy, but saying it very mean, like, have you ever seen him?
Yeah.
He's always like, just
How
be
can
happy.
you not have seen him?
Just be grateful. Just be gracious. And it's like, I see what you're saying, but the way if they're on mute, it would just seem like you're attacking me.
Yeah.
But I agree with it. It's like most people like don't have happiness if they can find happiness. That's success.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't think.
What's your definition of success?
All the monies.
Yeah, it could be.
But then again, everybody says money doesn't buy happiness, but they usually have money when they say that. So.
But I think they reach that point and they realize that they could have had it all along.
Yeah. Well.
Happiness.
I mean. I think happiness is defined by the relationships you're in, the people that you hang around, the people. Cutting out negativity.
Do you know I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
but before we go off of this, do you know who Susie Batiz is? Founder of Poopery and a couple other companies. Mm-mm. She's super awesome. You know who she is?
I know what Poopery is.
Okay. So, yeah, she's the founder of Poopery, but I was in an event and I think she's filed bankruptcy twice in her life before she had like major success with these companies. And she was like, what's worse than losing it all is that you realize you didn't have any fucking fun doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, before we get off the tangent of money, it's like a lot of people set that as their goal and they just go, and then I'll be happy. But if you can find that you get things along the way and you realize they don't make you happy, you realize it's never the thing that's going to make you happy. You're going to have to figure out how to do it yourself.
Well, the past 8 years, I've been working in the real estate industry, but I've always worked for other people, and successful-esque, but it's always been at great cost of just like grinding and working and really sacrificing my own personal freedoms in time for other people, like vacation. What the fuck is that? I haven't. The last vacation I took was a year ago, and all I did was just take a week off. Yeah. And that was because it was it was like 6 months ago. I took a week off because it was too stressful at work because I needed a fucking break. Mm-hmm. But I didn't go anywhere because I couldn't afford it. Mm-hmm. You know, because I keep buying stupid shit for stuff like this.
I mean, it's a cool studio.
Yeah.
So whatever.
But for me,
got
so
these
now,
cool
my goal is I don't want to work for anybody ever again.
Yeah.
But also do things that are fun. Like, to me, this is fun. Having an interesting conversation. Like, will this be monetizable? Maybe eventually, but that's not the intent. The intent of this is to be able to be like, hey, now I can like call, because we were talking about that. I don't know if we were talking about while we're on camera, but like, hey, I want to take you to coffee and bend your ear and sell you insurance. Well, now it's like, hey, I want to bring you in and let's have a cool conversation on camera.
Yeah.
But so it's almost like, yes, there's an ability to potentially something come of it, but there's a very selfish, hey, I get to have cool conversations with cool people. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's a benefit because like, oh, spread the media. Maybe there'll be some social media clips or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's like, because I've met you a couple times and I've seen your content, but like I think to me, this is the most real I've ever seen you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and this is how I am in real life.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, like when the shit that I put out, you know, even on my podcast too, I feel like I'm pretty real most of the time.
Right.
But like this is the stuff that I like to talk about. I love the work that I do, but more than anything, I just like to connect with others.
So if you're on a podcast, somebody's like, so tell me about sustainability. You're like, shut the fuck up.
No, I don't see the point in talking about it all the time. Like I would rather know what's fucking somebody up, you know, like what's painful for you right now. What are you scared of? What happened to you?
What's painful for you?
What's painful for me?
Yeah, let's open up that jar of pickles.
Let's see. Right now, what is painful for me? Oh man. Honestly, I always feel like my life is so beautiful. It's insane, like in a really good way. And I feel like I've worked really hard to get to this place. But like the biggest problem for me is always like boys, right? Like my relationships, not in a bad way, but it's just like the lessons that come with like learning who you are and just learning behaviors that you're not super thrilled with, or patterns in your life that you're not super thrilled with. I'll speak for myself that I'm not super thrilled with. That's been really interesting. Okay, so here's something that. Wait, what was the original question?
What pains you?
What pains me?
What was your biggest heartache at the moment, or
okay,
what
we'll go with that.
But you can continue.
I was just gonna
doing that warm.
I mean, relationships are all we have in life, right? Relationships with people. I mean, that's the most worthwhile venture. They say at the end of your life, you're never gonna think about, I should have spent more time on fucking social media, or I should have been at my job more. It's like I should have loved the people around me more. So. That's why I like to talk about relationships. But anyway.
You're like, hard stop. Well, I was talking about this last night. Kristen Gerst is over here, a friend of mine and a potential business partner. Well, actual business partner. We're working on something together. And we were just talking about, like, especially in real estate, how many you have all these relationships and that are sometimes friendships, a lot of times professional, but a lot of times very peripheral because you want to. And what I was saying was, at the end of the day, the only relationship that really truly matters to me is my friend Tyler, because I've known him for like 20 years. He's one of my best friends. I mean, I have other relationships as well, but as far as like that's in this realm of people in this network, and that's not a dig at her. That's not a dig at you. It's not a dig at Tommy. It's not a dig at all the people in my life. But at the end of the day, it's like, who do you really trust? Who can you really count on? And at the end of the day, like with Tyler, like I know for a fact he would never screw me over and he would never do anything that would harm me. He's only out for my best interest. That being said, I also know for a fact he's not the guy that I would call if I needed to hide a body, because he would call the police. He's like, I'm not going to jail for you. But that's why you would call Tommy. He'd be like, I don't care. Let's go. Just pay me. But my point being is, like, there's other people where if you, and maybe that's a sad way to look at it, but like, because I do have friendships. I do feel like I can count on Tommy and call people up and have a good time and whatever. But at the same time, I don't have expectations of like, hey, I need this favor. Oh, you can't perform. It's not like I'm not going to be heartbroken. I'm just like, okay, well, I know I couldn't count on you anyway, so it's okay.
Dang.
Is that harsh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Should I edit that out?
Damn. Now we know all your friends are not your real friends. I just feel like
I just don't feel people have real friends. That's the real gist of it.
Whoa, that's a really bold claim.
You have friendly acquaintances.
I have some of the deepest relationships the deepest relationships that I have are with about 5 people.
But that's the point. Like I have 2.
But also like not even like when I genuinely love humans. Like, I just love talking to people and just making a small connection with them in whatever way that I can. Like, last night I was, like, serving, like, drinks at this event that I was, like, helping out with. And just, like, taking the time to just really see someone just because I feel like that is not – everyone's so on their phones or so just, like, in their shit that they just don't take the time to see all the people around them. And it's, like, I mean – I don't really want to say this example. Not in a bad way.
I love people, but this person I don't like.
No. I don't want to say this example because it just makes, I don't want to like seem like I'm a fucking martyr or holier than thou or something because that's not my intent.
This person was ugly and I talked to them.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No, there's this, okay, so I was at the show last night and there was this homeless guy. And whenever I'm out, I see people who are asking for money and everybody's just like walking by them.
Yeah.
It's like a thing that I do consciously. Like I'm going to make it a point to like just try to connect with the person on a human level. Right. And that's what I did last night. And like the people that I was with was like, we need to get out of here. Like, what are you doing? Is he bothering you? And I was like, no, I'm just trying to fucking talk to him for a second.
Yeah.
And like make sure he has a place to go.
Well, that's what they say about like the nursing homes. Like if you really want to help people, just go to an old nursing home and just visit with people.
That's it, man.
Because they just want to talk to somebody because they're there and there's nobody to talk to. Yeah. Or there's the other old people, but they just want to have conversations with new random people.
People just want to be seen. You know, when people like, or they just want to feel seen or
they want to be noticed.
That's it. Just that, because it's like, hey, I see you there, you exist, and that's fucking cool. You know what I mean?
Well, like just that's why social media is weird.
Yeah.
And like, so if you're on Facebook Live or Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn, and then you just acknowledge someone's existence, they're super happy about it. Mm-hmm. You know, that's why there's a guy in our network. His name is Max Maxwell. He's like I think his YouTube channel is like up to 170,000 right now. But the way he's been able to connect with his audience is he not only does he do a lot of content that's pretty good for real estate, he has also a large community on Facebook. But he'll spend like at least once a week traveling to different locations throughout the United States so he can physically connect with people. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if he said this publicly or privately, but the intent, or maybe I'm just making this up on the spot, but the intent is to be able to, if you consume my content, but then I actually meet you in person and shake your hand and say thank you for being a part of this community, you just went from a fan to a super fan.
Yeah.
Just because of acknowledging somebody's existence.
Yeah.
So.
That's the way, man. Shouldn't be like a tactic or anything, but that's like the way, right?
Right.
And I'm sure
you can there can be benefits to it. Though.
No, of course, and that doesn't make it it doesn't make it anything. It's just I just think just be open as possible to people because I think a lot of people, they get hurt. And like someone fucks them over or something happens and they start to like close themselves off. But I just feel like when those things happen, it's like just a further reminder that you need to stay open, right? You can't just like show up with all your shit to like every interaction because it's a new interaction. And I have found more success in just being open, regardless if I get hurt or not.
And what does that mean to stay open though? Like feelings wise, it's like if somebody's like, hey, you go on a date and they're like, hey, I want to buy you a drink. You're like, you know what? I really like you. Or you know what? I don't really like you at all. Or what does that mean
just
to be
not
open?
just not being afraid to speak your truth to a person.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be romantic. It could just be anything. But just not being afraid to be your full self because you feel like you'll be rejected because of you showing up. Like, don't stop showing up as yourself because someone has rejected you for this or this or this. That doesn't mean that you're not enough. It just means that you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'm grinning because I have a thought in my head, and I know you would never do this, but it would just be the funniest thing in the world to me if somebody's like, look, I've had a really good couple dates with you, but when you were at the bathroom, I saw your computer and I saw your credit score. I'm out.
I didn't know where you were
or
going.
I saw your bank account.
I didn't know
I'm
where
out.
you were going with this, but I did actually I was dating someone like very briefly, and like literally had them like meet someone else and be like, yeah, I'm gonna date this person exclusively.
In front of you?
Oh no, they just like was super straight up. Like it was a great like conversation, and was like, hey, you're really cool, but I know like.
See, that's the thing is, and maybe I'm just doing the dating thing. Well, I'm not dating anything yet right now. Is I always hear about people dating multiple people. How the fuck do people have time to date multiple people?
It's not like a relationship. It's like you go on a date. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
like,
we've gone on a couple consecutive dates. I'm not going to get in a relationship anytime soon.
Right.
Like, I'm very upfront about that, but I'm down to hang out and just like, go to dinner, shoot the shit.
But even then,
shit.
it's like I was here till midnight last night.
Yeah.
And I'm self-employed, unemployed, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And basic, I mean, I was hanging out with Kristen, but we were working, drinking and working, but mainly drinking, but mainly working. But
right. Yeah.
But it was,
I was working last night too, mainly drinking.
And, well, it's completely professional, but my point being is like, you do that, or like tonight we'll be here till 8, 9, 10 o'clock tonight. So, and again, I don't know, like even if there was a romantic interest or a potential for an interest, like I don't have the patience or bandwidth to do more than one person at a time.
Then don't.
Well, now it's 0.
I mean, everybody's different. Right?
I downloaded that Vouch app just to support Christiana, but it's like,
oh, how is it?
For me, it's non-existent because like there's only 1 or 2 people that pop up. I'm like, nah, and then it's no other further candidates.
Okay, so we just need to get more people on there.
Basically,
and
try vouchapp.com.
Sponsored
Sponsored
just kidding,
by vouchapp.com.
I just snotted.
Snotted. That'll get all the boys. Go
That's how I
to
get 'em and
Katie
keep
Wallace's
'em.
Tinder profile.
Not on Tinder. I don't have any of the apps on my phone, actually. You can check it.
You can DM her
No
on
apps.
Facebook.
Look, no dating apps on my phone.
Oh.
I meet humans in real life.
Does Pornhub count?
Oh no.
Just kidding.
That one's different.
No, that's on my TV. I gotta have the projector screen. No, but shit, what were we talking about? Drinking.
Drinking, being really professional last night.
No, so other than boys, what else pains you?
What else pains me?
And maybe that's the problem, is you're dating boys and not men.
Maybe.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's the actual realization that I've had, but we can get off this topic now. That's hilarious. What else pains me?
Yeah.
There's honestly not a lot. There's really not. What pains you?
Everything. No, I don't know. Like right now, I'm in this weird new like freeing moment where I'm out of a work environment that I've been the past 2.5 years. I'm in this like, oh shit, got to find a way to make money because, you went from a job to no job to like, okay, let's do events and let's do some events to make some money. Let's do some media stuff to figure out how that can be monetized. Let's build some mentorship programs for some other people to see how to monetize that. What makes me happy is the ability to have freedom to do all that. And at the same time, not have an anchor, but also not really have someone saying you should or should not do that.
Is this your first bout with, being out on your own, or?
I've had a bout before, but I had a business partner, and that one was a weird situation because it was like going into that was like, hey man, we need at least 3 months of financing to get this thing off the ground.
Yeah.
And he was the money guy, I was the work guy. And 1 month in, he was like, well, let's see how that rolls with the first month of finance. I was like, that's not how this works, man. I mean, so literally like any dollar penny I had got soaked up trying to keep that thing alive, and it just crumbled and crashed to the ground. You've seen the entrepreneur graph before?
Yeah.
Where it's like,
yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
So it's real.
Yeah. So
and
like,
I love it.
So like right now, I feel like I'm at a, like, you know, again, utilizing the tools that I've learned the past 2 years. Cause that was the coolest thing about my last 2.5 years is I basically was paid to learn a new profession, like the media stuff. Even though I think I performed fairly well and I did other aspects, but I was able to get paid to learn a new craft.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
But
yeah, I feel you though on that. I mean, I feel like it's good to have those failures, but it's also the really cool place to be in control of your time and to be able to do whatever the fuck you want. And if you fail on your terms, and if you succeed on your terms.
Well, and that's what they always say. Like, what do people want? I want freedom. I want happiness. Okay, what does that mean? You know, I want to be able to do whatever I want.
To them, yeah. To be in control of their time.
Exactly.
To do whatever the fuck you want. If it's play video games, great. But people just want to be in control of their time.
Well, like Mac is the guy that he's the guy that owns this place. He's the guy I want to be because he, you know, if he wants to play video games, if he wants to take a nap, he naps. He wants to drink a beer. That's like,
I thought you said a nappy nap. If he wants to take a little nappy nap, but you said he naps.
That should be an audio drop. Nappy nap. No, but like, you know, this whole place is built around like just wanting a place to go drink beer.
Yeah, it's so chill. This is like a really cool spot. If y'all don't invite me to a party out here, I'm gonna be really pissed.
We'll do something out here.
Yeah.
We've done networking stuff out here, but we did that fight night. We had a party out here. Well, Mac had a party and I was his AV tech. But
we had a party.
You had said something in our little pre-interview that I was like, "Ooh, that's good," because I don't know what that is. I can assume what it is, but what is greenwashing?
Oh, greenwashing. It's just basically where companies kind of capitalize on sustainability and the whole being green, and they try to make themselves seem like they're more sustainable or they're doing more good than they actually do. And a good example is a company like Verizon, who is massive, who has a lot of money, who could do something, who could be doing stuff really great. A couple of years ago, they were running this campaign where they were running it like they had gone totally like green, solar, renewable energy, but they had powered this other tiny company to go solar, and I think they only like had 1% or something like that of renewable energy, but they took that story and made it seem like it was Verizon's story. You know what I mean? But really, it was like we helped this other company go because maybe they had like their cell phone service or something like that. It wasn't as green and like having this great big impact that they were trying to like push it off as they had.
And even if they did have a little bit of impact, it was. So do you have a problem with when companies do something purely for a political or branding agenda, even if it does have a positive impact?
I mean, if they're actually doing it, I mean, a company that I just despise is Coca-Cola. I think it's probably one of the worst companies in the entire world. I have very strong opinions about them, but they do this greenwashing shit. You can see their commercials where it'll show like clean flowing rivers and, just like very nature-y and this and that. But they are polluting more water than they're cleaning up, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's just another small example of shit people do. But yeah, I mean, if you're actually in the world and you're doing something cool, like if you're taking your whole freaking team to a homeless shelter and y'all are volunteering and maybe it's a media stunt or whatever, but you're there, you're showing up and you're giving of your time either way, cool. Yeah, I don't think your motives matter then.
Because I think a lot of companies get a lot of shit for, you're doing this thing purely as a stunt, blah, blah, blah. It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
It's more than you're doing.
Right. Or like if people donate money or something and they're just like, oh, I can't, like, you're a piece of shit. Like, you should donate more money or whatever. It's like they're doing something. You know what I mean? Like, how are we you can't, I don't know. I don't think it's up for anybody to say.
Again, it goes back to what we were talking about before about having, my opinion is all that matters. It's like, well, first of all, your opinion, it does matter, but there's so many sides to every story. Mm-hmm. Like
everything's so nuanced.
Everything. Yeah. Well, like even if so in real estate, real estate investing is a weird world because by its very nature, everybody's a solopreneur. Everybody's a solo player.
Yeah.
But you can be successful, but it's much easier to be successful in business if you have a good network. Networking is king in every business, but in real estate, it's much bigger.
Literally everything.
Because it is literally everything, because that's where you find your private capital partners. That's where you can find potential deals. That's where you can find people to teach you new skills. I forgot where I was going.
Oh, were you talking? No, I'm just kidding.
Damn. No. What I was saying though is, but with that, I know where I was going.
Okay.
We'll just edit that out.
No, leave it in. Leave all the fuck ups in.
Yeah. With that though, there is an element of like gossipness and just telling stories and actual just sharing things behind people's back. And it's just like, oh, did you hear about Katie? Blah, 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 or, and sometimes it's mean spirited. Sometimes it's just passing on a story.
Yeah.
To me, I don't take it that mean. I think it's more of like, oh my God, did you hear about this thing? You probably should know about it before you potentially do a deal with that person.
Yeah.
That being said, I always take it through the filter of, okay, this story came from this person, so therefore that story has already gone through the telephone game and they're talking about somebody else. So there's at least 5 or 6 sides of the story.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a long-winded way of saying that, anytime I hear content or stuff or a story, I always go through this filter of, okay, but what really happened?
Yeah.
And you'll never know because
Never.
there's too many different sides.
But we like to postulate and we like to pretend like we know everything, right?
That's a $5 word right there.
Hell yeah. I'm getting paid. Getting paid.
Postulate.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's probably a big problem, right? It's like everything gets very polarized and it's like it's either this way or it's this way and that's it. But then you fail to take into account all these little things sprinkled in that branch out into like all these fractals of what could be and what happened.
So what excites you about 2020?
I'm not dead. I don't know. I'm still
love
here.
that answer. I think it's my favorite answer of all time.
Great. Amazing.
I'm not dead. Because you could take that as an ultra positive or if it's almost like it's a more reflection of how I received it than you give it. Because I'm like, oh, that's so sad that your only life is because you're not dead. It's like, well, if that's how you see it.
Isn't that life though?
Yeah.
You're only alive because you're not dead.
Yeah.
And that's very empowering, right? Because we're either alive or we're dead. And so if we're still here, we got a pretty good chance of doing something.
Of having a good life.
Of being alive
yeah.
for at least till tomorrow. I gotta go soon.
I know. That's why I was looking at the clock. No, it's cool.
You can wrap it up, though. How should we tie this together in like a pretty little bow?
Tommy, you got anything to tie it up or offend?
No, she said something about being intentional earlier, and I wanted her definition of that because I have no idea what the fuck that means.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, of being intentional?
What does intentional mean?
I think it's for me personally, it's a culmination of just being very self-aware and know it. So I meditate every day. I write every day in the morning and the night. And I try to not analyze my behavior, but I just put shit on paper and just to see what comes up. And it helps me look at patterns in my life. And it helps me determine the type of person that I want to be. And I'm just very aware of those things when I'm going out into the world and how I'm not representing myself, but how I'm showing up. You know what I mean? And so and I'm not saying I'm just like always thinking about what's going on, but I always just try to be as present as possible. And I feel like that helps me be more intentional, right?
Well, I know Lila, she's very intentional with her words, and that's what she teaches and coaches. Yeah. Well, I'm assuming. I've never gone through it, but like always be intentional with what you're saying, because that's how you sell products or convey messages. Yeah. Like I'm not eloquent or hell, I don't even know how to say the word articulate. Mm-hmm. I'm horrible at articulating, especially doing this stuff. I've learned that other people speak so much better than I do. Yeah. Like your speech patterns or pretty much anybody that's been in here, I'm like, holy crap, I suck at the English language.
I say like and a lot. It's the worst.
So Shelby was in here yesterday and she pointed out at lunch that I use the word literally all the time.
Yeah, man.
And she's like, you say that a lot. See, look at him.
Literally? Does he literally?
Yeah.
He says
Literally. I was literally.
Literally. No, anyway. So when I was hanging out with Kristen,
figuratively.
Yeah.
Were you literally hanging out, or were you figuratively hanging out?
Both. But but now I have a complex, or at least last night, because I was like. So
have you been holding yourself back this episode?
I don't know. Have I said it?
I think I heard it once.
But once in a conversation.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
But you got it from Tyler. Like,
does he say that a lot?
Tyler says it all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
100%. Just notice. Like,
okay.
Yeah, that's where you get it from. It's from talking to him.
So there you go, Shelby. It's not my fault.
Great.
It's Tyler's fault.
All right, so we're wrapping it up in a pretty bow. Back to being intentional.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, no, I mean, kind of, right? Like if your intention is to just show up and have fucking fun wherever you go, like that would have worked. You know what I mean? But I think it's just that. It's just being aware of how you want to show up in the world and then showing up as that.
And buy more Coca-Cola.
Fuck you.
This is sponsored by Coca-Cola. And by the way, I'm gonna go get a bottle of water and just throw it away.
Great.
Like full. I'm just kidding. I
love it.
I'm kidding. No, last question. I really appreciate coming here. I've really enjoyed this. I have.
Good.
A lot.
I enjoyed it too.
I would love to get you in here again, because I kind of want to do I've said this many times, but like not do the one-offs, but like have people that featured players. Like if I enjoy a conversation, come back in. If you were, so this is a question I've been asking a lot just because it's fun. What celebrity would play you in a movie about your life?
What celebrity? I don't even know enough celebrities to be able to tell you. There's a really hot celebrity, but also has a good heart. Because maybe her.
Was it Shailene?
You know what? Fuck it. Bill Murray. Bill Murray would actually play me. Yeah.
Good for you. That's a good answer. All right. I think that's a good place to stop. I love it. All right. Thanks for tuning in, watching, and listening. For anybody that's paid attention. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.